Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day today, and I did not go for my walk this morning. I was so exhausted that I couldn't get up. So I hope to be able to do that later today because it is so nice outside. I'm looking outside, and it's just so sunny and beautiful. And I like to take advantage of the good weather, you know. So I hope to get out maybe later this afternoon and take a nice long walk. So good morning and welcome to Morning Tea with Tiffany. I appreciate you guys being here as always. Today we're going to talk about, it's the Friday before Mother's Day. So I think it's important to talk about moms today, you know. And one of our members of the group, Karen Bailey, who is a faithful listener every single day, sent me a topic this morning. And I thought it was a really good one. I had a topic prepared for today, but I thought hers was really, really good. It was about mothers and, you know, the impact that being a mom has on your business, your career, you know, just your life in general. And I think it's important to talk about those things, and what better time to have a conversation about that than, you know, the Friday before Mother's Day. Good morning, Andy. Thank you for joining this morning. Look what I have. My teacup. Thank you so much for your gift. I really appreciate it. And I'm still drinking peppermint tea, but now a large amount of peppermint tea in my big giant love cup. So thank you very much. Okay, so like every day, we start our mornings with a morning prayer. So I'll go ahead and get that started, and then we'll, you know, go through our normal thing, our announcements, and then talk about the topic of the day. All right, so our prayer today is a prayer to step out on faith, okay? So let me go ahead and read it, and then we can talk about it for a moment. Gracious Father, as we begin a new day, help us to engage your will with a reckless faith. Teach us to trust in you and help us grow in righteousness. Heavenly Lord, give us the courage to step out on faith this day and every day. Fill our hearts with your spirit and let us speak your words with pride. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? And, you know, I chose that prayer today because, you know, the whole purpose of a mint in the making is really to engage with people and for all of us to learn our potential. You know, we are all capable of things that are so much greater than who we are. And I think, good morning, Karen. Good morning. And I think, you know, having a faith in God, a faith in yourself, a belief in yourself is so very important. And it helps us to achieve things that, you know, otherwise we may not be able to achieve. You know, I always say, if you believe it, you can achieve it, you know. And part of believing is having faith, you know, faith in yourself, faith in God, faith in other people, you know. One of the reasons why or why it's easy for me to be kind and helpful and giving to others is because I have faith in humanity, you know. I believe, even though there's so much bad in the world, I believe in the good of people. I believe that deep, deep, deep down inside, there is good in every single one of us. And our environment and the culture and, some of the things that we encounter in life, force us into situations and thought processes that, we otherwise wouldn't be. So for me, faith is so much more than the actual word. So I thought that was a good prayer, and we want to not be fearful of faith. Like it said, engage your will with a reckless faith. We think of the word reckless and we're like, oh, that's not really that, that's that doesn't sound like a good word, right? Reckless, but reckless in your faith, meaning, just go for it, just dive in and have faith that you can do whatever it is that, you want to do. God, that as long as God's in your corner, that God wants you to do. So, that prayer just really stood out to me this morning, and I wanted to share it, and share my perspective on it. Okay, so just a couple of announcements this morning. May 21st is our networking social that Helping Hands and TSM Mortgage Professionals and Royal Occasions sponsors. Okay, so my business is TSM Mortgage Professionals. My friend Sandra, her business is Royal Occasions. And the two of us teamed up with our businesses to form Helping Hands Resource Inc. And we are sponsoring this networking event on May 21st. It is from 7 to 9 p.m. It will be on Zoom. Bring your cocktail, your favorite cocktail, and your virtual business card and your lovely self. And let's chat over cocktails. So I'm really excited about that. I hope to see you guys there. It'll be a fun night, nothing really formal other than, just, hey, let's make some introductions. We'll give people an opportunity to share, what they do, their businesses. Will be on Zoom, so you'll be able to talk rather than type, which will be nice. And we get to hear all your lovely voices, so it'll be fun. And I hope you guys attend. May 21st, 7 to 9 p.m. The invitation is on Eventbrite. It is also in this group. I know Sandra posted it the other day. Come join us. Come hang out. It'll be fun. Featured class for TSM Mortgage Professionals is tax return analysis. Okay. So I teach this class to mortgage professionals. As many of you know, when you go to buy a house, especially those of us who are self-employed, you have to provide your tax returns. And depending upon the loan program, sometimes it's the last year's tax returns, sometimes it's the last 2 years' tax returns. We get our taxes prepared, but many of us don't know what we're looking at, when we get them. We don't know why we have the deductions that we have. I have an accountant right now who, just says to us, actually, he's brand new to us this year. We were using one tax accountant, and we weren't really feeling like the benefits, getting all the benefits of self-employment and, the fact that we own rental property and, all those things and expenses. We just didn't feel like we were getting the best bang for our buck. So our financial advisor suggested a new accountant, and he's great. He doesn't have much personality, which I guess many accountants don't. But he's great because forever I don't remember us getting a refund. I mean, literally since the kids were born. I think we've been paying. And for the first time, and I don't know how long, we actually broke even. Okay, so we had to pay, X amount of dollars for our federal. So we owed on our federal, but we got back on our state. So literally, we had a tax liability of $1. And I was like, yes, because usually I have to pay every year. So that was exciting. But anyway, I teach a tax return analysis class for business returns and personal tax returns. And I teach it to mortgage professionals because when borrowers come in and they have self-employment, they're not sure how to document their income and what that looks like. And believe it or not, there are many industry professionals who cringe at the thought of having to analyze tax returns. It's not easy, So I've been teaching that class for a really long time. For whatever reason, when I did learn how to analyze tax returns, it kind of came easy to me. I don't know. It can be very complex, but for me, my brain just was able to decipher how all of that works. So I teach that class. It's high level. We don't get deep down in the dirty unless I'm teaching an underwriting class, because underwriters do have to know how to determine income through tax returns. But it's a good class for even, the non-mortgage professional, just to have an idea of, how tax returns are evaluated. We're always trying to increase our knowledge base. So the featured course for TSM mortgage professionals that I'm featuring today, good morning, Monica, is tax return analysis. Okay. So if you are interested, reach out to me on Facebook at TSM MTG Pros. My website, can't talk today, tsmmortgageprofessionals.com, telephone number 804-505-0887, and my email, tmyint at tsmmtgpros.com. So there's my contact information. Please reach out to me if you have an interest in learning about tax returns. Okay. So now, does anybody else have anything to share this morning? It's Friday and it's a beautiful day outside. Anything wonderful happening in your life right now that we want to talk about? For those of you just joining, our dear friend Andy thought of me on Mother's Day and sent me this beautiful mug. And I'm drinking my peppermint tea out of my mug this morning. Hey, Joshua, what's up? How are you? Guys, welcome Josh to Morning Tea with Tiffany. We grew up together. I got all my New York family popping in, and I love it. This is so awesome. And I'm so jealous. I have to say this because Josh visited Africa this past year, and he posted all these beautiful pictures on Facebook. And as you guys know, Africa is on my bucket list. I want to go to Africa. So I was living vicariously through Josh's pictures, of the lions and tigers and bears, and his treehouse accommodations were just awesome. So thank you for sharing. I mean, it was awesome. It was so awesome. So welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so we are talking about Karen, who, is one of my faithful followers here. And she's got something in the box here. She's promoting Youth Earn and Learn, guys, Jobs for Kids. Check out her website. She posts things on the page all the time. Take a look. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Um, so today's topic, which Karen provided me today, is moms. Okay, and how does being a mother have an impact on your life, your personal life, your professional life, in business? How does that impact your life? Okay, especially now with COVID-19. How are people coping with that? How are you as moms coping with that, with working and having children, young children? How are you managing your professional and personal lives during this time? And how does motherhood have an impact, positive or negative, on your life? Let's talk about that for a moment. Hey, good morning, Karen, or Carol. Carol's one of my girls. She's visiting with me today. Thank you so much for joining. Happy early Mother's Day. I got Janine with us this morning. I see her every once in a while pop on. So good morning, Janine. Carol is, she's like a second mom to my kids, especially my little Lissy Bug. Okay, they have their relationship is funny. Carol used to babysit for Alyssa when she was younger, talking about moms, that is. I was working, Matt was working, and Carol would be our babysitter. And Carol was in Alyssa's life when Alyssa, all she did was scream at the top of her lungs. So Carol endured all of that. I drop her off screaming, but when I came back, she wasn't screaming anymore. So thank you, Carol. I love you, girl. Thanks. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Happy Mother's Day to all of you moms that are watching today. Janine, I always like to share the relationships that I have with the people that join us. So Janine and I met through softball. Okay, our kids play softball together for years and years. And they, how Imani, all three of my kids are the athletes, but Imani and Janine's daughter, JC, ended up going to the same university to play softball. And her daughter's just a year younger than Imani. And, so that's kind of how our relationship started. Our kids, playing softball together. And, we have a whole family of softball moms. It's awesome. So welcome, Janine. Thank you for joining. And thanks for your support. I really love watching and seeing the people who pop up on here who have an interest in and just listen to me gab all morning long. God bless you all. All right. So moms. How does being a mom, and I'm just going to put my notebook down because, I might have some stuff that I'll share, but how does being a mom impact your life? Let me talk about that for a moment. And I want you guys to talk about it too, because this is a brand new topic. Karen just sent it to me this morning. I didn't have anything prepared. I'm just speaking out of, what comes out of my brain, my heart, all of that. So for me, the impact, I have a story about everything. I really do. But I think I told you guys at one point in time, if you've been watching, my live for a while now, that being a mom in the very beginning for me was very difficult. It was difficult for me because I am and was at that time so career oriented. I wanted children. Don't get me wrong, I did. But I just, as many of you will probably attest to, I didn't realize all that came with motherhood and that balance between, trying to climb the ladder of success professionally and being a mom, and how difficult it can be to balance. So I really, really struggled with that. I'm going to read as I talk about my story. So Karen says, when my children were younger, I went through a separation. I felt I had to choose between career climbing and raising my kids. Yes. So I can only imagine how that could be, especially being by yourself, Karen, because life is hard, and it is hard enough, having a two parent household with two working adults and raising your children. That in itself is difficult. So, I mean, then when you're doing it all by yourself, I mean, I understand that. I really do. Monica's on the line. I'm sure she has a story as well that, perhaps she'd like to share. Andy says, right now, being home with Caitlin is hard. All she wants to do is be on her phone. I try to encourage her to get outside and, and ride her bike, play her saxophone, do art or dance or something. It's a constant debate. It would be easier to let her do whatever she wants, but I don't think that would be being a good mom. You're right. A tough love is what I have to say about that. Okay. And in this day and age, Andy, you're not the only person who's dealing with that. Let me tell you. Okay. My kids are adults almost. I got an 18-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 16-year-old. My 18-year-old has, gotten a job, and he's all about, making money right now. So he's out doing his thing. But prior to that, he'd spend hours and hours and hours on video games, and my kids, so it's a little bit different for me because my children are all athletes. So they spend more time outside, and working on their game and all of that than they do inside. So for them, like my son who likes video games, what kid doesn't? That was sort of his outlet, and so he got a pass a little bit because they just work so hard all year long, so much that physical therapists can make a ton of money right now, or any time with kids and sports injuries. When my kids go to PT, I mean, the waiting room is packed, because these kids, they're outside all the time. But I do understand what you're saying. They can get addicted to those phones, the video games, all of that. And you have to encourage them, even if it's just for, a couple of hours a day, to go and get them outside, get them involved in a sport. I don't know how old Caitlin is, but, or if she's athletic at all, but, get them outside. You have to. You really have to. Hey, Kristen, thanks for joining this morning. Karen said the same thing. Okay, you guys are talking. Okay, great. Caitlin is 13. She'll be 13. Okay. So Karen says, yes, I figured she was a teen. That's normal, but you're right. You're doing the right thing. Yes, encourage Andy. That's wonderful. You are, Andy, doing the right thing. And then, if so, and I'm one to talk. I just started getting outside and walking myself, but maybe that's something you can do together. Go for a walk, have some mommy and me time. Okay, so Monica says, my kids are always number one. I love being a mom. Being a mom during Corona means you live at the grocery store. Yes, indeed. I am paranoid for my kids. I have become a real mama bear. I was really driving my kids crazy in the beginning. I love watching them grow up. I really love watching their games and everything that they do academically. I told them they could join anything because me having 5 kids wouldn't stop them from doing anything. And let me tell you, Monica, let me tell the audience about Monica. Monica has 5 children, 5, and she is a single mom. And 2 of her children are autistic. And she is my hero. You are my hero, Monica. If I have not told you this already, you are my hero because she does it. And she's in the school system, so she's around kids all of the time. Like kids are her life, Kids are her career. So I'm not surprised that, you know, in making a transition in your career, if that's what you choose to do at some point in time, Monica, that you still wouldn't be working with children, because I know that about you. Um, okay, she shares, their father and I split up over 7 years ago, and it's been hard. And yes, we shared, myself and Sandra, shared that journey with Monica, and she's a trooper, and she's the most beautiful person that you could ever meet, and her kids are awesome. They're all doing great things. Um, and they're just a great family, happy and full of life, and always something. Okay, and the one thing, Monica's kids, I don't know anyone who has been to the emergency room more than Monica and her children. Okay, Monica has been in the emergency room so much that she could probably own stock in Centera right now. I swear. She every time. There was a time when literally like every other day I saw a post of her at the emergency room with one of her kids. Crazy. And she's got boys, one girl, all the rest boys. Um and so as we know, boys are, they just they keep us in the emergency room. Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much for joining. How are you? Good to see you on here. I follow you on Facebook, as you know. Okay, Angela and I used to work together. That is our relationship, and we've actually, I don't even know that we've ever met in person, but we have a relationship as if we've known each other we have known each other for years, but never really physically interacted personally. Andrea says, when life was normal, we had a limit 1 hour a night on phone and on weekends, and 2 to 3 hours on the weekends. But she's so lonely right now. I'm letting her be on it more. I get it, but there's other ways to to kind of not cure that loneliness, because we're all in that place, the adults as well. But spending time with her, and doing fun things, me and my family and my husband. I work a lot. My kids wish I didn't work as much as I do, but it's necessary. But we try to do like really fun things, like Imani came home one time, and she was like, let's play Minute to Win It. We're game show people. We like to watch game shows and stuff, and so Imani created all of these games. She's a real creative girl, and we played them. You guys, if you go to my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, you'll see some of the stuff that we do. And then we had like a portrait night where we were drawing each other, and using watercolors to paint, and it was just so much fun. And we have all kinds of games and stuff too, and as a family we do those types of things because it's necessary. So there's lots of things that you can do. One of the things that you have to try, and I know this is difficult because I'm guilty of this myself, but because I'm always working all the time, I always have something to do, so boredom has never been a problem for me. I work 2 jobs. I'm trying to run my business. I have a full-time job where I'm a corporate trainer. So I train for a company, and I also have my own business, right? So it's tough. I always have something that I am doing, and so I have to, pry myself away from my computer, from, all that I got going on here in my office, and spend that quality time. And, now that my kids are adults, they remind me of that, that Mom, we need quality time. So, pull yourself away, Andy, of whatever it is you're doing, and, and just spend more time together. Carol says, I thought I held the record for the ER visits. No, honey, you do not. Monica got you on that. I am positive of it. She says, we have our own room at Princess Anne. Karen says, ooh, that mommy and me time is great. Monica, you're amazing. I spent time with my 3 kids one-on-one. I let them choose the outing and activity and let things try to flow, the conversation, quiet time, jokes, etc. I want to share, we did something for a while. We haven't done it in a really long time, but my husband sort of came up with this idea, and it's really good. It's called Pillow Talk. And so there are times, especially when your children are teenagers, where they, all 3 of mine, my youngest daughter is going through this right now, where they need their privacy, and they sort of shut themselves in whatever it is that they're doing, and we have a rule in our house that you don't lock your bedroom door. You don't do that. We are all very respectful of each other, so no one would ever, just open up the door without knocking first. So there's really no reason to lock your door unless you're trying to hide something. So there's no locked doors in our house. And but our children, they all went through a stage when they would come in the house, especially when they started driving, come in the house and just come right upstairs, go right upstairs to the bedroom, shut the door, and we wouldn't see them until I called them down for dinner. And, Matt hated that. And so we used to get into, arguments, with the kids about, hey, you have to be social, with a family. You have to be social with other people. They go through a stage where they don't want to, talk to adults, and, they just, I don't know, are in their own world. I don't remember being like that as a child. But we lived in a different world. The millennials are very different, very, very different. But anyway, getting back to Pillow Talk. So we found that there was a lot of, there was a barrier that was being built between us as parents and our children. And so Matt came up with the idea of, let's have a moment when we all sort of sit down together, and whatever is bothering you or frustrating you or anything that you want to share, you have a moment or an opportunity to share that in the no judgment zone. Okay. So we'd sit in a circle, and we would pass the pillow around. So when it was your turn to talk, you held the pillow. When it was your turn to talk, you talked, and you could share whatever it is that you wanted to share, and it worked really well. And that gave us some insight as to where, their heads were at that time. And, without there being, animosity or that tension building up, and, kids are going through so much at the age of 12 and 13. Their bodies are changing, their mental state. I mean, I remember reading, because my kids would act in a way where I was just like, I need to understand what's happening here. So help me, I told you I'm a Y person, so I'm like looking stuff up, and but what it boils down to is there's so much happening with them. They're trying to figure out who they are, determining what their identity is. They are going through hormonal changes, and even as adults, we know about hormones, right? So their minds are going crazy, but their minds are still not mature enough to understand how to deal with all of those things that are going on with them. Wisdom with us, because we're older and we've gone through things, we have better coping mechanisms, but our children do not. They don't know that. They're not mature enough mentally to be able to handle those things, right? So we have to be mindful of that as parents. And I try, because I went through, depression when I was younger, when I was, a child, not young child, well, teenage years. And I never forgot the feelings that I had during those times, of depression. And so if I see anything remotely familiar, in a child's behavior, my children included, I'm all about it. I'm like, okay, I recognize those things immediately. And, we sit down and we have conversations, and I just, I'm a very transparent person in my personal life, my professional life, just all over the place. And so as a mom, because we are talking about moms here, it was my job, my duty to be engaged and understand, what they were going through, and those signs, and sometimes, I went into territory that probably wasn't my job to go into, because I have a husband and I have a son, and, some things are left for the man to take care of, but I'm a meddler, right? I meddle in all kinds of stuff. So, and because of my transparency and lack of fear in talking about anything, I would, talk to my son about whatever, sex, drugs, whatever, didn't matter, and there was no level of discomfort there. And so I would, say to Matt, hey, you gonna talk to him, or you want me to talk to him, and he's like, I got it. There's some things are just, but as a single mom, you have to be the mom and the dad. You have to manage those things, right? And we, I'm not a single mom, have never been. So, there's certain parts of being a single mom that I would never even, pretend to know about. I applaud you who are. And, but I think, it's important to have that level of comfort in speaking about anything with your kids, because the world is just so hard. It's so harsh right now. And so that pillow talk was really an opportunity, in a no judgment zone, to be able to find out what's going on in our children's minds, and then play detective after that, and do investigative work like I do. As an underwriter in mortgage banking, I learned to be a detective. I can look at people's documents and be like, okay, I know what their spending habits are. I know, I can learn so much about a person by looking at their bank statements. It's unreal. So those are where my detective skills came into play, and I used them, my investigative skills on my children. So this is all great conversation. Okay, so Monica says Tommy delivered to Kayla yesterday. She was so happy to see him and Amani. Yeah, so my son's doing, deliveries now, and he is racking up. He's racking up the change. And so the other night, he told me how much he's been making, putting in his bank account. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I borrow some money? Because he's doing his thing. And so he takes his sisters, with him. Alyssa is just learning to drive. She's got her permit. And Imani does not have a car right now because she was in a car accident a few months back in Missouri before the season started. And her car got totaled. So we're in the process of looking for another vehicle for her. So she doesn't have a car right now. She's driving my car. But anyway, he takes his sisters out on his deliveries with him. That's their bonding time. That's how they spend time together. Andy says, I love Minute to Win It. Monica says, thank you, Tiffany. You are welcome. You're my hero. Kristen says, good morning to everybody. Oh, she says, I've seen Family Quarantine Olympics. I have not seen that. Where is that? Tell us where to find that. I'd be interested to watch that. So would my family, because they love competitive type stuff. We watch that. I think they're watching the Challenger on TV right now, and I'm kind of in and out with it. But that is Imani and Matt. They're all about it, you know. Okay, Andy says she would be in her room all day if you let her. Yep, you know what you have to do, Andy. Highs and lows, the best part of your day. Ooh, I like that. Okay, and what was the worst? How did she respond to that? Did she like that? And Monica, everybody's feeling me on this. Yep, she said the kids will only come out when it's time to eat. Yeah. You know, fortunately, my dad really helped out, Karen says. And I would call him in for the guy stuff. Yep. You know, hey, we got to do what we got to do. Me, Karen, I was just like, I got this. You know, that was like, back the heck up. You know, this is my world right here. I'm like, okay. Yes, she says, yes, my boys have no shame. They tell and show me anything and think nothing of it. I love it because some moms don't get to have conversations with their sons that I do. And that is so true. That is so true. And it's such an amazing feeling, you know, for your kids to be able to come and talk to you about anything, and then watching them grow. You know, watching my son grow has been just such a rewarding experience, you know. Because he's a young man now, you know, he's 18 and he's super smart, and you know, he comes in and he's so open and transparent, just the same as me. He's so much like me, it's unreal. And then like his dad too, so he's got like a combination of both of us. But you know, he wants to be an entrepreneur, and that's really intriguing to him. So my business, he loves to, you know, just come in and see what's happening, and he really gives me some solid advice. You know, at 18, I'm like, man, you got a good head on your shoulders there, buddy. And so I think he's gonna be, I think he's gonna be something special. I really do. I think all my kids are gonna be something special. Don't we all, as moms? We think our kids are the best, you know. My kid is better than yours, kind of thing. I secretly think that, you know, I'm not ashamed to say it. We all do. Karen says, that hit home with my youngest. I realized I couldn't raise him the same way I did his siblings. They are unique, and I had to parent differently. You really do. I mean, they are just, I don't know. I think your son, you said, is like 21 or something, or somewhere in that vicinity, where my daughter is that age too. And they are just they're cut from a different cloth than we were. And sometimes we have to check ourselves, because we think about things the way we were brought up and what our morals and values were at that time, which are very important. I think it's important to instill those things in our children. I really do. But we also have to understand where they are, you know, and we have to, I say this in business, it's the same thing in parenting, right? We have to meet people where they are and then go from there. Okay. We can't take them back to, you know, when I was young. You can't do that, you know. But we also can't live in the moment where they are. There's a happy median, but we have to meet them where they are and then expand from that point. I think that's important. And we have to do that in business as well. You know, I do that all the time. In sales especially, you got to meet them where they're at. Okay. You can't take them on a journey if you don't meet them at some point in time, some location, right? And then you travel, you take that journey together. That's what's really important. Oh, okay. Karen says her son turns 18, or excuse me, 21 on the 18th. Ooh, that's a big birthday. Big birthday. So maybe we'll be done with quarantine by then. And you guys can do something cool to celebrate. Um, so, just I want to touch a little bit before we go on parenting um, and business, being a professional and having to really sort of, excuse me, manage your career around being a parent. So what I think is important is to understand that you've got to make time for all of it. There's 24 hours in a day, and 8 of those we're supposed to spend sleeping. I don't spend that sleeping. I think I spend maybe 5 hours a night sleeping. And then the rest, we have to split up between our families, our children, and our careers, and that balancing act is very important. And that's why I was encouraging people to take the transitioning or the pivoting into telework class that I taught a couple weeks back, because there truly is an art to working from home, because that is where parenting and your professional life collides, and you have to be able to compartmentalize. You have to be able to be a mom during these certain hours of the day, and then be an employee or an entrepreneur or a business owner, or whatever it may be, for a certain amount of time. You have to be able to split those things. It's necessary. It really is. And so understanding that skill set and being able to balance, having a work-life balance is so very important. And I know during COVID-19 it's been difficult for all of us, myself included, because I work from home, okay, when I'm not traveling. And right now, because of COVID-19, I'm not on the road at all. So I am here 24/7. And now, and whereas before I had the house to myself from pretty much 6:45 a.m. until 2:00, 2:30, when people started coming, into the house, from school and what have you. And now, and even when they were home, I still had my own space, right? This office where you see me every day, this is my home office. And it was mine. It belonged to me. I could shut the door, close my curtains, shut the door, and be in my own space. I don't have that anymore, because now my husband is home. Excuse me. My children are home all day. My husband is home. My husband is now working from home, so he needs space as well. So we have now, split the office in half, and I don't have my space anymore. And so I had to learn myself to, okay, and teach them, because everybody's home, that I have office hours. Okay, now just because you are now home doesn't mean it's family time 24 hours a day. It's not. I still have a job. I have to remind them of that sometimes. Sometimes my husband says, "What time are you getting off?" I'm like, "At 5:00." Almost like I have free time because I'm working from home, and he's home now too. So the struggle can be real sometimes. It can, we just have to work around it. But I think I'm getting over my time now. But Karen, I really appreciate the fact that you brought this topic up. I think it was a great conversation. Great conversation. A couple things that I want to share. And I apologize, guys. The last couple days I've had like some sort of tickle in my throat, and it just won't go away. I hope I'm not getting sick or anything. I think the it's the pollen in the air. I've been spending a lot of time outside recently. All right, so I do have a topic for Monday. I want to start talking about emotional intelligence. I want to start talking about emotional intelligence. All right. But Karen shared something that that I thought was really important, and we can kind of leave on a healthy note here. And it's a perfect segue to go into what we're going to talk about next week, which is emotional intelligence. All right. This is a quote by Deepak Chopra. I think I'm pronouncing it right. He is an author, American author, but he's of Indian descent, and he practices alternative medicine. Okay, and here was his quote: "Exploring yourself at a deeper level than your everyday thoughts is the true definition of meditation." Let me read that again. Exploring yourself at a deeper level than your everyday thoughts is the true definition of meditation. Okay. This is so important. In my mind, it made me think about, okay, what are we doing when we meditate? What are we doing when we meditate? And I defined it. We are providing training and awareness to ourselves, right? And getting a healthy sense of perspective. This is what we've been doing this entire time with self-reflection, right? And I want to continue with that, but we're going to explore a number of different areas. And I thought this was so good that Karen sent this to me. And so I want you to think about meditation. I want you to think about how meditation impacts your self-reflection. And then I think I'm going to leave it there because there's some other stuff that I have here on my notes, but I want to save that for emotional intelligence. So I think we'll stop here. But so I want everybody to have a great weekend, but what I want to say is this: as a mom, as a parent, period, enjoy your weekends. If there is a gap in communication with your children, or if there's something that needs to be fixed, do that now, before you go any further. Do that now. And restore the relationships that you have, with your kids. Restore the relationships that you have both personally and professionally. Remember that you have to have a work-life balance. I think that's so important. Spending the time with your family and your children, but also, understanding and knowing what's important, especially during this time of difficulty, right? We ourselves are dealing with, a health crisis and struggle, and it's hard. It's hard. I shared with you guys, I had a panic attack, almost 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? I can't even remember now, and it's because, there's so much coming down on us as moms. We worry about things that our spouses or significant others don't even think about, and this is a whole, another session that I could speak to on that. I will say this: when you go to bed at night, think about this really quick. And I know I'm all over the place this morning. I apologize. Think about this. When you go to bed at night, before you go to bed, what do you do? As a mom, before you go to bed at night, what do you do? Do you just turn off the lights and the TV and go upstairs and head to bed? Do you do that? I can guarantee you that none of you do that. I don't do that. I wish I could do that. I'm cleaning up the kitchen, putting the food away. My husband, tells me I leave my spices out. He was true. That was a true statement. He did. I do. I do leave my spices out. He caught me in the act. Um, but I put a little laundry in, straighten up the pillows, the sofa, whatever. You're doing all of these things because our brains are constantly going, constantly. We don't know how to shut down. We don't. So as a mom, and if there's dads or significant others who are with have a relationship with a mom, pamper that person this weekend. Make them feel good. Make them feel special. Let them go up. Let them come to bed. And just turn off the light and relax and enjoy some candles, or I don't know, whatever. A bubble bath, whatever. Allow them that moment to exhale, because we think about and do so many things that you have no earthly idea. You just don't. You just don't know. And I'll say the same thing to the dads on Father's Day, because there's so much that you guys do that we don't really see or know. But just learn to appreciate each other. I appreciate you, all of you. Happy Mother's Day to all of the wonderful moms out there. Thank you all for sharing your stories. And, think about meditation, this weekend. Write some things down, and let's get together on Monday and chat about it. All right. Thanks, guys. You all have a wonderful weekend. I love to see you here. Thank you. Chat with you Monday. Bye-bye now.